First the Akimbo Heathers, now the Akimbo AKs and MP5s. I already thought that the Heathers were pretty decent Akimbo SMGs, but with these new two SMGs I feel like they're even better, at least in my opinion. Well, first I'm going to quickly show you how I modded these two, since they're going to have a little different functionality from each other. For my build, I'm just going to be using a Mastermind Fugitive setup with Ex-President. The main thing I'm going to be picking up is Akimbo from the Fugitive tree, since I won't be running the Hitman perk deck and I'll be needing one of those to use Akimbo weapons. I'll leave a link to my build in the description. For the mods of my Akimbo AKs, I have the Bigger the Better Suppressor, Single Fire, Aluminum Foregrip, AK Rubber Grip, and Low Drag Magazine. And this is how the overall stats look for it when I have all these mods on. And with the Akimbo MP5s, I have a Competitor's Compensator, Auto Fire, and the Polizzi Tactical Barrel. And here is the overall stats once all those mods are in. So, it seems we've already got a bit more variety in terms of Akimbo SMGs. It was kinda lonely with just the Heathers. With the MP5s, they seem like the Akimbos that fill the role of a weaker weapon, where it's got a lot more ammo, can be modded for really good stability, but overall weaker and less accurate than the others. The Akimbo AKs, on the other hand, seem to fill the opposite role, sporting high damage and accuracy while having subpar stability and a very small pool of ammo. The Heathers seem to be somewhere in between. In my opinion, I feel like the MP5 and the AKs are much better than the Heathers though, which is a little unfortunate because I really like the look of the Heathers, especially when considering using them akimbo. Reason being is I kinda prefer the look of the SMGs with mags that go into the grip, like the Heathers, the MP9, the MP7, instead of the ones that are placed in the front, like the MP5 or the AK. The MP5 and the AK just look a little bit too front heavy, but that's just sweating the small stuff because I still like the look of the Akimbo MP5 and AKs. Anyway, I guess I'll start with the MP5. I'd say that the Akimbo MP5s are more useful than the Akimbo Heathers considering the situations you'd use them in. While the stats for the Heathers are pretty balanced, sporting decent damage, accuracy, stability, even concealment, the MP5s are a bit more sporadic. It has the ability to be really concealed, but you end up losing on all of your accuracy and stability, and it can also be modded to reach 100 stability, which is actually how I have it modded right now. The MP5s have more options for modding, giving them a bit more range in the roles they can take. Same goes for the AKs. While the MP5s generally have lower damage than the Heathers, I'd actually say that this difference is mostly unnoticeable. It can be modded with the straight mag to give it a bit of a damage boost, but in the end you lose out on a lot of stability, so I'd rather just take the lower damage. Besides, the difference isn't that huge. It still hovers around the 40 range, and since the MP5s have way more ammo than the Heathers, it more than makes up for the lacking damage. With the high stability, it makes these weapons ideal for close range and full auto use. And although the MP5s have really bad accuracy, that isn't too much of a problem, since you won't really be using these to try to hit snipers in the first place. There's also really no point in trying to mod it for accuracy too, since even built that way, it only really gets to about 40 accuracy. With a fast reload and a large magazine, these Akimbos are pretty reminiscent of LMGs. Close range use, a lot of ammo, a lot of spray and pray, all that jazz. It also seems like the perfect set of weapons for a silent killer build, or a crit build, or both. But at the moment, I'm actually using neither, and it's still pretty effective. Now, for the Akimbo AKs, these I find to be a little bit more interesting. They have high damage, the same as the damage you'd see in the middle tier Akimbo pistols when using Gunslinger, like the Cross-Kill and Interceptors, around that 80 damage range. I have a silencer on my AKs at the moment, but they don't really affect the performance in terms of damage, so I keep them on just to boost the accuracy and stability instead. These weapons also have some decent starting accuracy. With the way I've modded mine, they're at 72 accuracy, but if you wanted to, you could pull out all the stops for accuracy mods and reach around the 80s, which is good enough to hit snipers pretty far away. Unlike the MP5s, the stability is pretty low on these AKs, and it also has a pretty small ammo pool in comparison. However, that's just being compared to the other SMGs. If we compare these AKs to the Akimbo pistols, it actually ends up having more total ammo than the pistols that it shares similar damage with, 180 as opposed to 150. While the pistols have inherently better stability and concealment, they also require high-tier mastermind skills to be utilized fully, while these Akimbo SMGs don't really need anything except for one low-tier reload speed skill in Ghost. If anything, I feel like these Akimbo SMGs are more akin to Akimbo pistols. And I'm actually using these Akimbo AKs that way too. As you saw earlier, I put on the single fire on these AKs, and I treat them more or less like pistols with a ton of ammo, both in terms of their total ammo as well as their large magazine sizes. By using single fire, I manage my ammo a lot better than before, and I don't have to worry about the ammo affecting me nearly as much anymore. The reload isn't as fast as the MP5s or the Heathers, but it's also not slow enough to be much of a bother. I quite like both of these additions to the game. They add a bit more variety to a new weapon type, though unfortunately it seems as if they also give less and less reason to use Akimbo pistols. Still, the most annoying thing would have to be the fact that acquiring Akimbos is based entirely on a perk deck or a higher tier skill. But I guess that's gonna change in the near future with the skill revamp.